the DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, our weekly trip across the border to good friend and colleague Andrew McInnis as we talk some pucks, props, picks, NFL, CFL, whatever is on the docket. But first and foremost, shout out to the gentleman behind the glass, the one and only Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Cade Horton, to our proud sponsorship and partnership, WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please go to Google Play or wherever you download your apps. Download it. It's free. Get yourself accustomed to start tracking your bets, tracking your ROI. Start downloading some other sports books and casinos in your area that are available so you can start window shopping. Get the best price. Why pay minus 125 when you can pay minus 118 right next door? And since it is tis the season, why not make a little flash cash? Send an email to affiliates at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Zach, Travis, who were on this morning for the Breakfast Bankroll. If you missed that show, jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Watch it. Subscribe. It's free. And the rest of his team and staff will take good care of you. But without further ado, let's bring the true star of this show, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, eh? How are you?
Besides freezing my you-know-what off outside in the cold East Coast weather, we're doing great, Jeff. Lots of sports on right now. The NHL's heating up, and really, it's been the team totals and the totals. At this point, I think I should stop betting sides. I did have a winner last night with the Coyotes, but the team totals are the way to go. You've definitely supported me through that, and I think we have some good opportunities on tap for tonight. So looking forward to it. I also have some prop bets for us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I was fortunate enough on Friday. It was about 45, 48. Myself and my wife, April, got outside, got the outside decorated for Christmas. And then it's been coldy rain and raw the last 3 days, in the low 40s today. I saw your timeline. I think it was yesterday or Sunday, and applauded you for your success on the team totals. Last night, ECSI VIPs gave out one play, and it was the St. Louis Blues team total under 2.5. We had them not to get to 3 or a field goal. And of course, they score late in the first period to make it 1-0. Shut out Vegas through 2 periods. Vegas gets that tying goal. And here's what you're afraid of if you got a team total under 2.5, is if the Blues got that late goal and then Vegas pulls the goalie and then they get the empty netter to get to 3. But Blues shocked the world. Take it to overtime and win 2-1. But you said something earlier, and I have to agree. And I'm starting to see a shift in the market. A lot more people are starting to play those team totals.
It's definitely not. It's not a niche product anymore. I don't think. I don't think it's. I don't think it's just a few of us doing it. That's for sure. But I will say this, and I think that. Don't get me wrong. Like you've definitely helped me make sure I'm always getting good prices when I'm betting team totals and things. And I think that there's a misunderstanding that team totals should only be used if it's a big price on a game, right? Like tonight, Colorado will be a popular team total because they're a huge favorites. People will look at them, and you've got the LA Kings and different things like that. I actually like that Kings one, but my point being is that it's not just something that you want to look at when you have a massive favorite. I feel like that's something people, what do they do, right? You talk about it all the time. They look at the money line. Nope, don't like that. Puck line, not intriguing. Regulation, it almost seems like team total is the last resort. Whereas for you and I lately, and you for a while now, it's been, okay, what number am I getting on this team total? Is it intriguing enough to jump in on it? And like I've had some people tell me, and even some friends that follow hockey very close. Well, why aren't you just taking the money line here? Right. You know what I mean, Jeff? And then that's the thing is like, it's becoming popular, but I think I don't ever like to sound like this, but I feel like it's becoming popular, but people are just they're just doing it when they feel like they need to. They're not really looking to bet them. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like they're treating team totals as if it's the last resort.
And it's funny you say it that way because I think you're spot on. And we have now been doing shows for years together. And I talk about peeling the onion back, and we're taking it layer by layer by layer. And I don't want to say team totals now is my first one. In other words, I'm almost peeling the onion layer back from the team total all the way back till you get to the opening line of the money line. The one thing about team totals I will say is this. I like to turn a big favorite into plus money or value when we can. Now, as you said, that doesn't mean just go to the biggest favorite here, the Islanders, right now, minus 300, 294 against the Sharks. We know the Sharks aren't that good. They're playing better, though. So, therefore, I want to get and play the Islanders. I don't want to play the puck line. I don't want to play the money line, yada, yada, yada. Therefore, I'm going to go run to the window and play the Islanders team total. Well, here's where they get you. The Islanders team total tonight is 3.5. Okay, get to 4. That's usually the race that we play here, but it's minus 30 cents. Mm-hmm. So my point is, again, you're laying 30 cents. Well, if you got 3 team totals and you use that thought process, you got minus 30 cents, minus 25 cents, minus 25 cents. Well, if you go 2-1, and you lost the 30 cents, you're only going to win 70 cents for the night. And my point is, those cents, those dollars add up day by day, week by week,
yes,
month by month. So there is a fine line, because I see a lot of handicappers on social media not afraid to lay the 145s, the 175s. But when they're tallying up their day, they go, hey, guys, we went 4-2 plus 2 units. Well, yeah, but you forgot you lost the minus 165 kid. So yeah, you were 4-2. You weren't plus 2. Well, I was plus 2 games. Yeah, you were. Congratulations. You were plus $1.35. Oh, that's right. It was minus 160. I forgot.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing, and we talked about it. Actually, we had like I don't think this is any problem for me saying this. We talked about it at Wager Talk in the summer with baseball, right? You could be on a 6-3 run, where all of those plays minus 200s. Were you fading the Oakland A's every single time out? You know what I mean? And did you lose a couple of those? Well, what's your ROI? What's your plus or minus units? And you're exactly right. And you know what's funny, Jeff, is that people love to talk about winning bets when they had plus money. Don't we all, right? Sometimes I like talking about a bet that I lost that was plus money, because it feels so much better when I can look at that, whether it's on my recap on my Wager Talk page or on my own betting accounts, and say, I bet 100 to win 100, not 135 to win 100, right? And long term, that stuff adds up. And when you look at a loss, I would most certainly rather my losses be the plus money ones than be the minus 145s and 150s. And there's a reason why whenever I have a prop or a favorite that I like a lot that is in the minus 140 range, it's always a 1% play for me, because I just cannot manage to, when I put out a 3% play and it's minus 160, well, it's not a 3% play, right? And most people, I think and hope at Wager Talk will understand that, we have 5% as our top rated play. If you put out a minus 185 and close to it, even 200 as a 5% play, it's way more than a 5% play. So if you like that, you should really release it as a 3% play, because you're almost betting 5 to win 3. And it's so nice. I don't want to get me wrong here. I'm not saying it's nice to lose ever, but it's nice when you look back at your tally and the ones you are losing are the plus money. And a good example today is, we got the Kings, right? Like plus money, cheap plus, it's like plus 105. But what are they laying on the road? Minus 205, right? And they're plus money on their team total. So will I be upset if they win the game 3-1? Probably, but I don't want to run to the window to take the money line on some of these ones, Jeff. That's for sure, and especially if you're betting a sport long term. Would you agree with that more? Like, I think if somebody dipped in and out more of a league, then it would make sense. Like if I knew someone that didn't bet hockey very much, and they just looked at me tonight and was like, you know what? I really like this team to win. I'll lay the $2. I feel like I'd almost respect that more. But if you're betting every single night, and those losses add up.
No, and I'm glad you brought it up that way, because we haven't done a lot of NBA. I think I might have released 4 or 5 NBA plays so far this year. I have caught totals. My eyes, there's been a couple NBA totals that are 250 and 252. That's the overnight number, which have flown over 312, 311, and like 278. I left it on the desk because I just went into that one game last night. It's like, I want to start the week 1-0. Here's our best play. Let's go get it. But the Celtics were playing the Pacers, and the winner goes to Vegas, and the overnight number was 237. Now, the Pacers are I think the number 1 rated offense in the NBA, and the public automatically pushed it to 242, 243. Well, it was a DOA. That thing was under from the opening tip, and I left it on the desk. But as you were saying, if someone that's not playing hockey wants to dive in and periodically do a play. I was the same way with the NBA game. Now, if I was feeling froggy and did the 2 or 3 games, fine. That would have been one of the plays. But when you're struggling to grab traction, you're looking to get on a roll. I say to myself, I'm going back to the basics. There's been so many weeks in our almost 8 full years of history where we got to Friday and we're 4-0, or we're 5-1. We've given out 5 or 6 plays, or we've gone 1 play a day. And you sit back and you're like, go back to some of the weeks where you give out 3 a day and you're 2-1, 1-2. 2-1, 1-2, or you're 1-1. We talk about the volume versus, hey, if you like a game, and that's what I love what you guys do at Wager Talk and what you do especially. Hey guys, I got a 5% play today. This is the one play we're locking and loaded, and this is our play. You might have 3 or 4 on the desk, but you identified your big play. It's a 5%. Here we go.
Well, especially with the big ones, like you'll notice a lot of the time, if I have a lot of plays, they're all going to be 2%. So I appreciate that. And that's kind of the way. I mean, you don't want to have a 5% play plus, 4 or 5 other 3 and 4% plays. Then I would also argue it takes away significance from the 5%, but hats off to you, Jeff, on that St. Louis call. Love that under. And man, you had to have been feeling like a genius to have the under, and then they win the game. Like, wow, man, that is cool. Like, that is next level team total stuff right there, because even in victory, they couldn't score 3 goals. You gotta love it. You gotta love that.
I tell you, that's the gold star. Hey guys, ECSI VIPs, just to let you know, we're ending the week undefeated, 1-0. Collect your unit next Monday, and I'll see you
Take
on
that.
Tuesday.
That's it.
No,
That's
I'm only kidding, guys. You talked about your buy and sell. You do it on puck time. You talked about your analytics that you're getting a lot more into. Who's your buy? Who's your sell? What are your analytics saying for this week moving forward?
Yeah, I'm looking at selling the Calgary Flames moving forward here, Jeff. I mean, I've been going through a lot of some of the websites I look at. They break down line for line how each line has been doing, and the fact of the matter is, like, whether or not they're producing, like, on the score sheet, that's one thing. But the fact that they're not creating any chances, the bottom 6 is a real big problem for me with this Flames team, and their schedule coming up is very promising for them. Obviously, they have the Wild tonight, who are on that big run since their coach has been fired. Not a huge run, but we all know that run that teams get on when they can their coach. They got the Wild tonight. We got the Hurricanes, Devils, Avalanche, and Golden Knights. I mean, things don't get really easy for this Flames team moving forward. And even in success that they've had, a lot of it's been in low-scoring games, and they're going to play some teams that certainly know how to score. So definitely looking to go against this Calgary Flames team. I'm looking towards betting on the New Jersey Devils. They got a tough one tonight against the Canucks. I think that's going to be just a simply prop game for me. Not really going to be involved in that. And actually, Jeff, I got to be completely honest. Even though they took a loss last night, one of my buy teams for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, was the Vegas Golden Knights. I'll probably bet them again. I'll probably bet them. I did not bet them last night, to be clear, but I will probably bet them the next meeting. They're playing a home and home with the Blues, and when I do the buy and sell segment, I want to try and find like bet on teams that have good schedules, but also not horrible odds, right? Because you can't just be giving out these lopsided matchups. So here we got tomorrow rematch against the Blues, Stars on Saturday, Sharks on Sunday, Flames, Sabres, then the Senators. So as we know, the Knights went on quite a bit of a cold streak, but now they're at home in 4 of their next 6 games, and I think they're going to get on a good run. So kind of poor timing for me to bring up the buy spot on the Golden Knights after last night, but those were 3 teams for me, looking to bet on the Devils, bet against the Flames, and bet on the Vegas Golden Knights. But as I've been looking at the expected goals against, expected goals for, one new stat I've been looking at is goal differential and expected goal differential. That one is kind of my new favorite, because you can look at really, like, it can tell you a lot about a team and some games that they maybe should have had a better luck in or games that they probably didn't deserve. Like, let's say a team's on a 4-1 run over their last 5, right? But you look at that last 5-game period, look at the expected goal differential, and it's only +2, but yet the actual, goal differential was +8. Then it might tell you that they just got fortunate. They ran into some goaltenders that weren't making saves and things like that. So something worth noting. I really, really like that one, because as you know, Jeff, goaltending is such a huge part of the handicap. And it's not as much just about looking at starting goaltenders here and there, but it's more so just seeing the guys that are getting lucky versus the guys that are performing at a high level. One guy playing really well right now, Connor Ingram for the Arizona Coyotes. If you haven't had a chance to read the article about him, I strongly recommend it. I think you'd enjoy it. He was battling depression. He wasn't doing very well. He was actually debating quitting hockey. Saw a therapist, talked to somebody. Now he's one of the best Canadian goaltenders in the league right now, turning this Arizona team around. They just beat the 5 most recent Stanley Cup champions, and a lot of that has to do with the success that Connor Ingram's having. So he's one of those guys that he's leading the league, top 2 or 3, I think, in goals saved above average.
As you said, we got 3, 6, 8 games on the docket. I'm glad you brought up Minnesota. We talked about as soon as they fired the coach, We had their team total the opening night. Of course, we didn't have them to win. They won the game. They didn't get over their team total. We have rode them and got a couple wins. I wake up this morning. My overnight number was Calgary minus 20. But at Circa right now, Minnesota minus 106. Most other shops have Calgary minus 110 with Minnesota 110 there. Surprised with Minnesota, we'll use the Circle like we usually do. Surprised that Minnesota is a favorite at Calgary.
Well, I mean, you always told me to trust the number, and I think that really goes to show that the books have zero respect for Calgary. Would you say?
Correct.
I mean, looking at things here, this is obviously a Wild team that wasn't the same team. They weren't meeting their expectations whatsoever. One thing about this Wild team, I'd say I've learned about them, and I've talked to some people about this, is that it's not like they're a boring hockey team now, Jeff, because they actually play fast, but when they get the lead, they protect it. I've said it before a couple times here on the Midday Market Report that you can't give out live bets before a game actually starts, but here's one for you. If the Wild have a lead, like 3-1 or something like that, and they get it fast, like early in the second period, I'm live betting the under in that game. The coach wants them playing fast, but it's been made very clear. Once you get that lead, stop trying to score more, play defensively. The Wild were I think top 5 in blown leads last year. That's the thing. As a coach, those are the adjustments you make. NHL players are already so talented. They're not teaching them how to, shoot the puck. They're teaching them in-game adjustments. So I've really noticed that. But this Calgary team, look at some of the games that they've been involved in where they've played like good teams like Dallas and Vegas, where they come out on top of those. And then they'll play against like the Islanders and, even teams like the Canadians and just struggle a little bit. That's why they're kind of like a box of chocolates. You just don't really know what you're going to get with them. But I actually like the under in this game overall. I think that this is going to be a lower scoring defensive battle. I haven't seen much depth scoring, like I mentioned, from Calgary. Minnesota hasn't really been blowing anybody away offensively. They're on their streak because of their defense. We got one goal out against Chicago, one against Nashville, one against St. Louis. So obviously it's just been a small 3-game winning streak, but a lot of that has to do with their defense.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I have noticed that so much with Minnesota, especially being a team total guy. And again, that's not all we do here, but it's a big part of what we've been doing in hockey and some other sports. Getting that, when you got an over 3.5 and you just need them to get to 4, seeing that 2-0, 2-1, seeing that 3-1, and then you're just like, all right, guys, just get me the 4 so I can move on, and getting stuck on stupid. And these guys just slow it down. It's like, okay, we got to 3. We're not going to allow 3. Therefore, we're all set.
And that's one reason why I can respect certain teams like the Hurricanes, because they have no issue how they win. Last night they struggled actually, but again, still a good defensive game. You need to be able to be a team that can be well known as a successful team, but still is able to win low scoring games. And that's a problem that they've had over time. But against another Western Conference opponent, they've had a lot of games against the West, coming off 2 strong offensive games themselves. But I want to pull up these numbers actually. Here, I'll pull them up in just 1 second, because we've got Markstrom that's out with an injury. So Dan Vladar is going to get a lot more time for the Calgary Flames. And I actually think he's been pretty respectable as far as his numbers. His goals stayed above average numbers aren't great, but I also think in some of those ones he's been kind of peppered. He ranks number 18th among, I think, like 75 goaltenders in his numbers. If you're asking me how I feel about the Markstrom versus Vladar debate, I think right now the more consistent guy has been Vladar. I'd look towards him. And the goaltending, I hate to put it this way, Jeff, but it can't get much worse for Minnesota. because like they have. If look at when I'm looking at Money Puck right now, I wish I could share my screen, but like Marc-Andre Fleury and Philip Gustafsson, they've actually been okay. It's just that their defense let them down and they've kind of been out of position in certain plays. They're going to get better. So I think I have both these teams pegged as under teams. If you were to bet a team total under here, which team would you choose?
Well, I looked at both team totals. And again, sometimes when you see these numbers, you're like, there's no way in holy hell someone's getting a 4 here. The overnight number was a 6 flat. It is now 6 over minus 25 cents at Circa. Minnesota team total over 3.5. You can get it plus 135. You can get Calgary team total over 3.5 at plus 140. So my point is the unders are under 3.5 and juiced to minus 55 and minus 60 cents. So they're telling you this game might get to 6, but if it does, neither one of the teams are getting a 4.
So you're telling me overtime's a play? You can take a look at the draw in this one. What about first period? First period under. I looked at that. That was one of my picks on Puck Time. I've just noticed that the effort that Calgary's putting in the first period, defensively versus offensively, has kind of been something that I've noticed, and it's not often you get a plus 100 price on this. I don't know. I know it's only 1.5 goals, but this to me is something that I think actually could start low scoring. I mentioned that live betting under with the Minnesota Wild, but the fact of the matter is you've got 2 desperate teams. So I'm going to end up doing something to do with an under. It's just a matter of what it ends up being here. But how about unders on Sundays? I wanted to bring that up. I've noticed a pattern here, Jeff. I know it's Tuesday now. We're talking. We don't want to go in the past, but I think unders went 4-1 on Sunday. And then the next day, Monday, we see some goals finally. I'm not sure how much you believe in this stuff, but I've actually started to look at it. I mean, some of these days of the week, look at the Maple Leafs. There's a reason why they play better on Saturdays. They get up. Half their team is like their superstars are young. There's a clear reason that they get up for Saturday games. It's just more intense. It's more hype. They do not play well on Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings, right? At home with a small crowd, nobody's cheering. I'm looking at some of these teams and how they do in certain positions. I just wanted to point that out. I mean, the fact that certain teams on certain days, I know it sounds crazy to say, but I've been noticing that quite a bit.
Well, it's funny. Me and my good friend Scott, we used to laugh because the Bruins, whenever they played Saturday at 1 in the afternoon, it was an auto fade. They just either were hungover, Tuca was, had bad chicken wings or something, and they just were flat. It didn't matter what the points, what the money line or puck line, whatever it was. It was a loss at home. They just played pathetic. And the Sundays in hockey, it's almost like the crescendo where Monday through Saturday and then Sunday's that family day, Sunday's that time off. The games, I assume the atmosphere a little quieter, unless it's a big rivalry, Montreal comes to Boston or vice versa. Mm-hmm. But the point is you do see that. So great eyes on you for picking that up. I want to ask you something about Saturday. It used to be hockey night in Canada on Saturdays. Saturday night was always a big night in Canada for hockey. Is that still true?
It is. I think that a lot of things have changed. Obviously, we talked about Don Cherry getting fired many years ago and how things have changed there. But it is. I feel like they've done a great job of covering more Canadian teams. Like, they've always done it. They've always had an emphasis on it. But like the pregame show, all the lead up and the build up, let's be real. It was always Habs, Leafs, right? Obviously, I'm in the East Coast, so I see a lot of the East Coast coverage. But now they're showing love to Ottawa more. They're showing a lot more love to Winnipeg, Vancouver, and Calgary. These teams out west, obviously McDavid and the Oilers. But It's good. It's become a lot more well-rounded around the league, and all the different reporters. I feel like they've put a lot. I don't know how to phrase this. They've almost they used to just hire in certain regions, right? Like this kind of, like, you remember Kevin Bieksa? There was a Vancouver Canuck defenseman. He's one of the big stars on TV here in Sportsnet for the Canadian broadcast every Saturday night. But they have guys in Edmonton, in Vancouver, in Winnipeg now on site, which is really good. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's too bad I think the Habs and Leafs don't play again until like March or April, because as you know, those are the big ones. Habs, Bruins, Leafs. I mean, that was a big game, Bruins, Leafs last Saturday.
Yes, and again, my kryptonite, the Leafs with the Hurricanes and a few others that are on the desk. I think I went back in one more time with the Leafs and team total. And you know, the hard part when you're looking at team totals is when you see an overnight number of 7, and it's close to a pick'em game, and they're basically telling you first 1 to 4 is the winner there, and then, you know, start of the third period, it's 1-0, and you just shake your head, and it's just mind-boggling, where you almost gotta, you know, if you're picking a team to get to 4 or better, and the under over is a 6 or even a 6.5, then you just shake your head. You know, people are looking at you like you got 2 heads. They're like, dude, the under over is 6 here, and it's a pick 'em, but you're telling me this team's going to score 4 or more, and they don't get it. And so I'll go to this game tonight before I pass you the board. You talked about the Devils and Canucks. Devils, another one on the desk. I can't pick them right with tomorrow's newspaper. I can't. My overnight number was 7. Vancouver minus 125, Devils plus 105. Right now at Circa, it's 6.5 over minus 35 cents. It's down to a pick 'em. Vancouver minus 106, Devils minus 104. It is a 7 at DraftKings. This is a perfect example. First 1 to 4 wins. You know my love affair of late with Vancouver. I can't do anything with the Devils, so for me, it would be Vancouver team total, but both of them are 3.5 juiced under minus 125, so you can get plus money on either one of these teams to get to 4, and I think someone's getting to 4 tonight, and if I take Vancouver, it will be the Devils. What is your thoughts?
Someone's getting to 4. I'm with you on that one. I'll tell you, I leaned towards the Devils at first. I couldn't get to the window. I started to kind of look into it and kind of the spot that sets up. I'm never someone that checks the standings. The Devils are 11-10-1. You know what the Canucks are? 16-8-1. It's a pick-em matchup. I don't usually say this stuff. You hear people handicapping football and they say this stuff all the time. Strength of schedule is a big thing. Injuries are a big thing. You and I can both agree. The Devils are better than a near 500 team, right? And that's the problem coming into this game, is that, as I've talked about, the Devils being a bye team for me. But taking a look at the Vancouver Canucks over their last few games here, when's the last time they beat a team that is really, really good? I'll read you the last few wins for them. The New York Islanders, the San Jose Sharks, the Seattle Kraken, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Calgary Flames. Those are the last several wins for the Vancouver Canucks. And I know some people will tell me a win is a win. I don't care about what those people say. You have to beat the good teams. And right now, this Canucks team went from being an absolute wagon to a team that's only beating below 500 teams. So that's kind of my worry. It's a big spot at home. First game of the road trip, I think. But New Jersey's off that loss against the Sharks, give up 6 against them. I like some player props. I like JT Miller over 2.5 shots on goal. I like Brock Besser to record a point. And I actually like Timo Meier under 3.5 shots on goal. I think I mentioned Timo under 3.5 like a month ago on the show. And he's still on a crazy streak. They give him so much respect because of the players he plays with. Every now and then he has an explosion offensively of a game. But the thing is, when there's so many mouths to feed on a team, it doesn't mean everyone's going over their prop number. You could look at the box score, and this team could have an awesome game, and every guy had 2 or 3 shots. If Jack Hughes' number is set at 4.5, he's gone over 4.5 shots in 5 straight games. If he's getting at least 5 shots on goal, throw in some other guys getting shots on goal, where's the room for Timo Meier to get 4 himself, right? A lot of mouths to feed on that team, Jeff. But yeah, it's tough for me. I mean, you think these two teams get together. It's the Hughes brothers bowl, 3 brothers on the ice at the exact same time. I want to play the Devils. Looking at just props for me for now. If I do see a slow start, I might jump in on a live over though.
And when you talked about the Wild earlier in the show, I see the same thing with Vancouver of late. Slow starters, especially at home, trailing 1-0 after 1, trailing 2-0 after 1. And I feel if I got cute here and I took the Devils' first period, there would be an awakening from Vancouver. I assume it's probably close to a pick'em in the first period. Maybe yes. Vancouver a slight edge. Obviously, I'm not going to lay the lumber and take New Jersey plus a half a puck. Do they have who's favored in the first period? Is it the Devils or Vancouver?
Hold on, let me see. I think it was Vancouver, but let me check. Yeah, Vancouver 125. This is at DK. So the pick them for the game and 125 in the first period.
Because if they had New Jersey favored, you could take a real swing and take them minus the hook at probably plus 185 or 95 and really swing for it. I assume the under over is over what, minus 155 or 160?
165. Yeah.
So there's going to be 2 goals scored. Is it 2-0? Is it 1-1? Again, now you got me leaning Devils, and I swear I wasn't going to touch them till January 1st, but the good bounce back spot, embarrassed against the Sharks. But that Vancouver has been my kryptonite, and once I went on to the Vancouver side, it's been profitable.
Both teams to score plus 130 first period. So minus 165 over 1.5. Both teams to score. The last time I talked about it with you, it lost. For the record, it lost. We have hit one on the show, but there's always that one matchup I've been showing up and mentioning that for. So I'm throwing that out there into the world. Throwing that out there, the both teams to score. I think this one actually could be a good one for that, Jeff, because it is a 6.5. It's highly talked about being, or it's a 7 now at DraftKings. Talked about heavily to be a big game. Plus 130 for there to be. You said it. Both teams probably come out on top, and for that exact reason, it's tempting to look towards the dog. I would play Devils first period over the Canucks simply based on the value. I don't want to lay 125 with either team.
Well, the board is yours. Like I said, 8 games in all. Started off by Rangers in Ottawa. We got your Kings against Columbus, who won the first period against the Bruins the other night, and then the Bruins scored 3 straight there. The Sharks playing a lot better, but can you imagine the Islanders minus 300? It sounds like Trottier, Mike Bossy, Billy Smith were all going to be back for the Islanders tonight. Red Wings and Sabres. Red Wings been playing better of late. Well, not of late. They've actually had a good start this year. And Anaheim Ducks, Colorado, Nashville, Chicago. We talked about the Wild in Calgary, and of course the Devils and Canucks. So the slate is yours, my friend.
I talked about not really trying to pay too much about just fading certain goaltenders, but in certain spots, I think it's worth it. So Devin Levi for the Sabres gets sent down to the AHL. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, he ends up being the starter for a few games. He has the flu. Eric Comrie is now the goaltender tonight. He's confirmed for the Sabres. 1-4 record, nearly a 4 goals against average, 8.64 save percentage. He has struggled big time here. They're obviously dogs. He's lost 3 straight games. This Sabres team in general has given up goals in bunches. Meanwhile, you have Alex Lyon that's played pretty well for the Red Wings. But I like the team total over for the Detroit Red Wings. You can get plus 105, I think plus 110 at some shops. That's probably gone now. 5 of their last 6 they've won, getting pretty good prices here. And Buffalo's been outscored 14-7 over their last 3 games. So point being, when you're betting against this Sabres team, no need to be shy about taking team totals. And I think you mentioned it. I got to tip my hat to you about the confidence the team might get when you get someone like Patrick Kane up the pipeline. He's not playing yet, but hey, they're playing well even without him. Wait till he actually comes to the team. So have that one circled. Eric Comrie is a guy that, I don't know why, but I feel bad for the guy. He's struggled whenever he's come up and played big minutes in the NHL. So we'll look to fade him. Another interesting goaltending story here tonight. I'm bringing up the goaltenders, but I'm actually betting against Merzlikins for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I am going to take that team total over. I believe the Kings are looking to break a record right now tonight. If not tonight, they're close to. They're going for their 11th straight road win on the season, Jeff. This team has been unbelievable. I always talk about at home how great they are because they get the last change. Well, looks like they have not needed it because on the road they have been dynamite. I think a lot of that has to do with the depth that they have. I think the guys are going to play well defensively around him, but they're going to try and get him a lead. Copley's struggled big time. They've actually had their other goalie playing much, much better, so they'll want to get him going. Cam Talbot's actually been carrying the load. Merzlikins, 3.04 goals against average. But recently, he has been giving up some goals, and they've been struggling to give him goal support. So I like the Kings at their team total. Not going to lay that price. Don't like that number. This game could be a high-scoring one. So I like that those 2 team totals over, LA over, and Detroit. And then we're going to switch to New York and Ottawa. Totals at 6.5. Let's keep with the totals theme, this time with the entire game. I'm going to go under 6.5. We've seen 6 straight games in Ottawa between these clubs go under. 5 of the last 6 games, actually, for Ottawa have gone under. Their power play has been an absolute joke. It is unbelievable, the talent that they have. 0 for 6, 1 for 5, 0 for 5, 1 for 4. I could go down the list how poor this Ottawa Senators power play has really been, Jeff. And New York is off a game where they gave up a ton of goals. The pressure will be on their defense tonight. I think that's the message in that room. Play good defensive hockey. And can you really think that the Ottawa Senators turned a page by beating the Kraken? Everyone's beating the Kraken these days, even my Canadians. So the Ottawa Senators need to play well defensively. So that'll be kind of like my Tuesday night 3-pack here for the show. We got the under in the Ottawa game. We've got 2 team total overs, Detroit and Los Angeles. Let's have a night.
And quickly, go over your props one more time.
Timo Meier from the Devils, under 3.5 shots on goal. JT Miller from the Canucks, over 2.5 shots on goal. Brock Besser to record a point. And one that actually I haven't released yet to my clients, but I'm about to after the show. Thomas Chabot, over 2.5 shots on goal for the Senators. It's plus 125. He's hit this in 7 of his last 9 games. He came back from injury, didn't play for a few weeks, immediately came back. I mentioned the Ottawa Senators have struggled to score. Does not mean they aren't getting pucks on net. And I love those defenseman props, and also love the plus money props. So those are a couple that I like. But I'd say my favorite one out of all of those would be Brock Besser to record a point tonight. You can parlay that, compare it.
Scroll has been...
Jack Hughes, though, he's got 5 shots in 5 straight games. Is that sustainable, Jeff? That's a lot of shots.
It's not sustainable if I play it tonight. How's that?
Should be a fun game to watch, though.
Absolutely. The scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone watching. Shout out to Mr. Shady himself. Thank you, Shady, for tuning in. Can get all your work, obviously, at McInnis Picks and at Wager Talk and at Sports Mayflower. Jump on over to YouTube. Subscribe to Mayflower Sports. It's free while you're there. East Coast Sports Investors as well. But as we always wrap up, Andrew, tell them what you got in store for everyone watching and listening at Wager Talk.
Yeah, the only thing I'll mention is that 7 days of NHL plays right now discounted, $49 for 7 days. So best bets, $25, sometimes $35. You can get 7 days of all my plays for $49 if you're interested. But you guys heard all my favorite plays today. Really, we're hoping to make some money in the totals market, and I love those team totals. And can't believe I'm taking an under right now in a Senators game, but we are. So thanks for watching, and leave a like button on hit the like button on this video.
Absolutely. And obviously, if both schedules match up, I will be reciprocating on your station on Thursday around 1:15, whenever we ever figure that one out and get that one up and running. Hopefully we have better luck than we have in the last couple of weeks, but we always get a show. Actually, we did a great job. You did a great job last Thursday on Twitter Spaces. So whatever works best for you, I will make sure I'm there as well. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one, the only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks and at Wager Talk, 4:30. Andrew McInnis, I was going to say, at 4:30, Riley Magnuson with the closing bell. I'm going to try to join him. I have to go to Canton to Sports Map Radio tonight, 8 to 10. Join us there with the legend Anthony Pepe himself. Everyone, have a great afternoon. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we will see you soon.